Hello, this is Christina Caudill with Radiant Astrology, and we are getting ready for a Capricorn new moon tomorrow, Tuesday, and that will be exact at about 6:17 p.m. Pacific time, 9:17 p.m. Eastern time. And we're looking at, this is a major time for Capricorn energy. Hi, Lucian. We have been in Capricorn's domain for some time now, with Saturn coming home, returning to its rulership in Capricorn around the time of the winter solstice in December. And we now have 5 planets in Capricorn, plus Black Moon Lilith. So we've got Venus with the Sun in Capricorn, Pluto, of course, Saturn, and Mercury recently entered Capricorn, as well as Black Moon Lilith, who is the fiery divine feminine, the dark feminine. And so this is a lot of Capricorn energy. And I just got off a beautiful call. Hi, Alexandra. I just got off a beautiful Capricorn new moon call with Sol Jonathan and Ari Moshe Wolf. And it's so beautiful what we were discussing around the Capricornian archetype. I mean, Capricorn and Saturn get kind of a bad rap a lot of times. But that's when we don't see the fullness of this archetype, right? Capricorn we have to remember, is a yin sign. It's an earth sign, and it's about the yin. It's internal. So there's an internal focus, right? And so with Capricorn being about dignity, about authority and achievement, we can source all of this from within, right? And in order to create things of lasting value and achievement, and to be someone to look up to, that all needs to come from within, from our sense of integrity. And so Capricorn, and especially with all this Saturn happening, wants us to create things that are sustainable. And sometimes that sounds like, whoa, such a burden and so hard to do. And so, it takes too long, it's too slow. But when you think about the opposite of that, if we're constantly recreating the wheel over and over again and starting over, then that wastes so much energy. And sometimes we can find we don't get anywhere. Saturn wants us to get somewhere. Saturn wants us to be masterful. And this new moon at 26 Capricorn is in the 3rd decan of Capricorn. And that really is an area that relates very much to mastery, very much to achievement. And a new moon is a time of seeding. It's a time of intention setting. Even if we don't know what the future looks like. I mean, we're not going to know. That's the point of a new moon, is it's a new cycle starting. And we can look at the archetypes of the planets and look at the aspects and everything to sort of get a sense of, what we might want to seed. Again, being Capricorn, something having to do with us establishing our own authority, establishing our mastery, working toward mastery, step by step by step, right? Making an internal commitment with ourselves of that which we want to commit to. And what's very powerful about this Capricorn new moon is it opens up the portal for the eclipse. If you saw my eclipse webinar, then you'll have seen that we tend to look at the lunation before the eclipse as opening the door to that eclipse. So we're sort of like on this trajectory toward an eclipse, because when the eclipse happens, again, it's not, the moment in time is significant, but what's been happening leading up to that, where's that momentum starts to build. So we're looking at this time as the time of knowing that, we're going toward a lunar eclipse. So La Luna, the moon, is that which nourishes us. our emotional stability, our emotional life. I'd be really looking deeply into your moon sign and the archetype around that. You know, what do you need to feel satisfied and cared for and nurtured? And that could change around the time of the lunar eclipse, you know, because the light of the moon is eclipsed and because we may not really be able to access that moon energy, which is our intuition. And it has to do with, obviously, you know, the feminine, our femininity, our ability to care for ourselves and for others. You know, so, and I was talking with, like I said, with Sewell and Ari, and we were saying that, you know, what's opposite of Capricorn is Cancer, which is the moon sign. So with all this Capricornian energy, it can almost feel like there's like a vacuum of energy in the moon sign, in our nourishment, in care. Capricorn, when it is unbalanced, can be a little too boundary oriented. You know, I have to be strong. I have to be cold and keep my boundaries. And of course, we can see where that can serve us, but where it can hinder us is when we're not getting, you know, the care that we really need, when the softness within us isn't getting recognized, isn't getting what it needs. You know, so asking for those hugs and asking for, you know, a non-judgmental person to witness you. With Capricorn, Capricorn is known for, you know, and Saturn is known for judgment. I think it's really interesting. I've been seeing Gabby Bernstein has been promoting her new book, Judgment Detox. And that can actually be something that can very much help to balance the Capricorn imbalance around the judgment, right? I mean, judgment can be there for a reason. It can help us to be discerning in our lives. And so in and of itself, judgment need not be just simply a negative thing, but we can see where it can lead to too much coldness, to not enough love or care, where it can block the love and the compassion. And when that happens, we know that we are too tangled up in judgment, and we need to release that sense of judgment when it's too disembalanced. I mean, right now is a time of karma coming home to roost, right, with Saturn and Capricorn. And so with this new moon, something that would be really good to set intentions with would be around what karma are you setting in motion, okay? Because Saturn is Lord Karma. And karma is simply that which we had set in motion and is returning to us, right? And so everything we put out, we get back. And I think that's something very important to think about in your new moon intentions. What energy am I putting out into the world that I can commit to and say, this is who I am? You know, where's the integrity of my life? Where does that lie? And what is the ground I stand on? What's worth standing up for? And so these are all things that with our intentions, we can start to shaping our future. I mean, that's the co-creating part, right? As we can begin to shape our future. Oh, I want to say hi to Charlene and Pamela and Romea. Thank you for joining me. That's where all those hearts came from. So in this time of this Capricornian energy, you know, Capricorn is known for boundaries. And there needs to be appropriate boundaries. You know, no matter how old we are, we're probably finding ways where we've been weak and we need to strengthen, where we've been childish and we need to be mature. But we also want to balance that with the heart, with bringing it back to the heart, with nourishing ourselves and caring for ourselves, right? Because we can feel old if we're not, you know, hydrated and nourished and getting our rest and really taking appropriate steps to care for ourselves and also rise to the occasion in our lives. So many of us are finding ourselves with extra responsibilities, Saturn, right? Extra work to do, more that we have to carry. But when we think about it, we all, in some way, owe where we're at to someone else, to some other shoulders that we were standing on. And now it's time in some ways for us to shore up our own shoulders so that others can then stand on them and have a foundation from which to build. And I've been speaking about this earlier about championing. You know, who can you champion? Can you bring up to your level? There's real truth in a rising tide lifts all boats. And I think we see that in groups that are successful, with people saying, you know, I've risen to a certain place in my life. It's time that I can help others as well. And in that way, we can feel less like we're all alone, you know, the gladiators of our own lives, but that we actually do have community. We do have a sense of belonging when we can realize that, you know, we don't have to live all for ourselves, that there are others in our lives that can help lift the burden that can be too heavy to carry for ourselves sometimes. So that's really something we want to consider going forward. You know, if we feel like we're doing this all alone, that can be very much a Capricornian type of feeling, like I have to do this all alone and no one else can, you know, has what it takes. It's only me. It can be the lone goat climbing up the mountain. But, you know, keep an eye out for those others that are also lonely climbing up the mountain, even if it means just connecting with those that you can create a support network, because that support can help us get to the mastery. Again, ultimately, mastery is where we're headed, right? And any way that we can have that support, we can get there easier. So I did want to also mention, let's see, so it's 26 degrees Capricorn, so that's the 27th degree here in the astrological mandala. We'll look at the Sabian symbol. The Sabian symbol is pilgrims climbing the steep steps leading to a mountain shrine. So isn't that beautiful? So it's pilgrims, not just one lone pilgrim, but pilgrims plural, climbing the steep steps leading to a mountain shrine. So it's pilgrims that are, you know, they believe something. They're being called to go on this great quest because of their belief and to reach a pinnacle. And that pinnacle is a shrine, is some kind of pinnacle of their belief, whatever their religious or, you know, spiritual belief is. And so I just think that is such a beautiful symbol for that which we can intend. Is, again, we don't have to climb the mountain all by ourselves. And why are we climbing the mountain in the first place? What are we trying to get to? You know, are we climbing a mountain that is aligned with our beliefs? You know, and this Sabian symbol has to do with peak experiences, peak spiritual experiences, which again is so beautiful because we're coming into this time of the eclipse. So, as many of you know, I'm leading a beautiful group of, we've got 18 women plus 2 guest teachers, and I have 2 beautiful assistants for the Eclipse Circle. So the Eclipse Circle has officially begun. If you didn't make it this time, consider it for next time. And I have a little surprise too. Jupiter sextile Pluto is making me very generous. So I've had so many requests for my Eclipse webinar. People want to see it again. I promised I would have it for sale in my store, but I will be actually offering it for free. It's an hour webinar. And so I've edited out all the Eclipse sales stuff because the Eclipse Circle has already begun. But you can get my Eclipse webinar. I put so much into it about this eclipse season. Be sure you're signed up at radiantastrology.com, and I will be emailing it out tomorrow. And so, yeah, it's really, really juicy. And I'm like the eclipse woman. That's like my intention. So I hope you'll join me as we explore the eclipses. And for your ritual, for your Capricorn new moon, do something that is grounded. This is an earth sign. Even if it means like writing down your intentions with pencil and paper, and not just listing boom, 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 boom. Okay, I've got them. Like when you write each one, really envision what it is you intend for yourself as someone who is on a path of mastery, as someone who is maybe even creating a life's work or some kind of legacy that could live beyond you. Today, I shouldn't forget, this is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I mean, look how many people he has inspired well beyond his physical life, right? This was someone who had a dream, who was persistent, and who was connected to something greater than himself. I mean, we all don't have the destiny to be a Martin Luther King Jr., but these times that we're living in are calling for us to step up to some kind of greatness or mastery or destiny. I think, if you have that call, then it's time to take little steps toward whatever that call is for you. So thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you a beautiful new moon tomorrow. And again, be sure you're signed up for the list so you can get the Eclipse webinar delivered to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.